Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing all right. So let's go ahead and run the algorithm and see what the TET Capital report outputs and see what trades do we have for the day. We're in a Euro USD trade right now. I took it yesterday. I showed it to you guys as well. So also we're going to check on that and see if there's anything we can do with that trade. So right now the TET Capital report has been outputted. I'm going to quickly have a look at it and have a look at the trades that are available and come back to you guys. So guys, I found two trades for the day. I found this AUD-USD trade and I found this Euro CHF trade through to the upside. We're going to discuss both. For the Euro USD trade, right now it's running very close to our TP area. Because I found a Euro CHF trade as well, I'm going to trail my SL to BE at the moment. Now, I know that there's maybe a 0% probability, something like that, for the market to come back. But better safe than sorry. Going to trail our SL to BE and let the rest run into our 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. I'm not going to intervene with this trade, not going to do anything, just going to let it be and see how that goes. You can see we're just upwards the 1.05 area. I took partials right here, and right now the market is continuing to go through to the upside. Now Euro CHF, I'm also going to be buying it through to the upside into our 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. And finally AUD USD today, I'm going to also be buying it. Let's go look here. AUD USD, I'm going to be buying it through to the upside right now into the 0.62500 level, to be specific. Now let's discuss the trades individually. Let's start with Euro CHF. So I'm buying Euro CHF right now through to the upside for the following reasons. If you look at the TET Capital report right here on Euro CHF, you can see that Euro CHF is neutral from an investor horizon, it is bullish from a swing horizon, and it is neutral from a day trading horizon. Long story short, the Euro CHF right here, if I go to a 6 hours perspective, to an 8 hours perspective, you can see the same thing basically, which is the market just went deep into the 0.93500 level right there, liquidating some areas through to the downside and breaking this huge support line right here through to the downside. As soon as we broke that huge support line through to the downside, of course a lot of sellers have been entering this price as the market pushed through to the downside right here. Being trapped into this market, we are accumulating sellers through to the downside. Now you can see as well, as the market is going down, it is creating this huge trend line as we were going down, where a lot of sellers are entering. Every time the price taps this trend line, lots of sellers were entering, and therefore as well a lot of sellers are being trapped into this price. When we had this big momentum through to the downside right here, also lots of imbalanced traders, for example, are entering here, selling the markets down. A lot of order block traders are selling the markets down. So a lot of sellers in this market, I believe sellers are being trapped, and we are going to target, as we can see from the TET Capital report, the 0.94728 level. So if I take this line and just basically copy paste price right here, we are targeting this area right here, shy above my 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. Now there's something right here on the 30 minutes. If I look at the 30 minutes, we're basically being offered almost the same price. Market is just pushing through to the downside, creating this huge trend line where a lot of sellers are entering. Now for this Euro CHF trade right here, as soon as we're going to start pushing through to the upside right now. But if we go through to the downside and we break that low, and then we come back to my entry, I'm going to close this trade around BE. So the market is not allowed to make it halfway through into my stop loss, because then I will BE this trade. I will place my TP basically around my entry and close this trade as soon as it comes back to my BE point. Why am I doing that? Because from a day trading horizon right here, we can see that market just broke huge levels through to the upside. We went up into the 0.94 level, into the 0.94 250 to be exact right there. Look at this, 0.94 250. We broke these areas through to the downside. We broke this trend line through to the upside, and therefore lots of buyers entered price right here as soon as we started pushing through to the upside. So in order to get a confirmation that the market wants to go down, I need this low to be broken. So therefore, we liquidated to the upside, we broke through to the upside, we trapped buyers to the upside. Now in order to confirm this trap, market needs to break through to the downside for me to be like, okay, you know what, this is a buyer's trap, I want to leave. And as soon as I want to leave, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to wait for the market to come back into my entry right here and close this trade around BE. So I'm going to be placing an alert right here. So this is, I always talk about managing your trades. I always talk about anticipating the best case scenario and the worst case scenario and preparing for both, basically. I am not delusional to the point where I need to sit down and say, okay, no, the market will make it up 100%, all that. No, if the market makes it down and breaks this low, then this is a buyer's trap. Because it's a buyer's trap, I'm going to be leaving the markets as soon as it comes back to my entry. If the market makes it up and takes out all these levels, then great. I'm going to be eyeing the next level, possibly the next important level, for example, the 0.94. So let's have a look what I'm going to be targeting here. You can see, look at this high, it created a lot of tops right there. So I can target this one right there. You know what? I'll target this one right here. So around the 0.94400. So right there, I'm going to start managing this trade if it makes it up into here. And then I'm going to let the rest run into my 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So again, partials here and letting the rest run into my 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. AUD/USD. Let's have a look at AUD/USD. So where is it? For AUD/USD right here, let's go deep into it. Right there. I'm buying AUD/USD right now through to the upside for the following reasons. Now, if we look at the TET Capital report right here, we can see that AUD/USD is bullish from an investor horizon, it is neutral from a swing horizon, and it is neutral from a day trading horizon. So let's look at the investor horizon right here for AUD/USD. Now we can see AUD/USD on the daily, on the 3 days, on the weekly, for example, from an investor horizon. We can see that market right now just broke this level through to the downside right here. Lots of sellers inside right there, and then started pushing through to the upside right there on the daily. Not only did we do that, as we pushed through to the upside right here, we saw some bearishness through to the downside. If you remember, so I'm going to be very clear. So in the last trading session on the TET Capital report, we had a swing horizon that was bearish. And now that swing horizon turned into neutral. And this is something that I love. That means that the bearishness just ended and the bullishness just started. If you look at the 6 hours, right here, which is the swing horizon, we can see that the markets made it all the way down. We were looking at these buyers through to the upside, breaking all these levels through to the upside. And finally, right now on this 6 hours, on the 8 hours time frame, the market just pushed through to the downside into these bottoms, into the support line. This ended. We've trapped the buyers, pushed down, broke all these lines through to the downside, and now we are moving from a buyer's market to a seller's market. We're trapping sellers right now. As soon as we broke this level, sellers entered right here. So we're trapping a lot of sellers as we are pushing through to the downside. Now look at this. There is no more liquidity through to the downside. There is no more huge buyers to target because this push through to the downside right here took out all these previous lows, and then we started pushing through to the upside. You can see it clearer from an investor horizon right here. Look at this. We just pushed down, liquidated all these levels, and then started pushing up. So there is nothing to target anymore through to the downside, which is why the investor horizon is bullish, and the swing horizon, the bearishness, was just done right there by pushing through to the downside and taking out all these levels through to the downside. So we're done with the bearishness and we are starting the bullishness through to the upside. Great trade for AUD/USD. If we look at the execution itself, you can see that the market just melted into this 0.62 level right here. So we melted into it. We broke the support line through to the downside, melted into the 0.62 level. Then we pushed all the way up into this 0.62500 right here, where we created some tops over there, as you can see, and then we started pushing down right there all the way back into this 0.62 level right there. So as you can see right here, when we pushed deep into, let's compare this point and this point, okay? When we pushed deep into the 0.62 level first time, we broke a huge support line. So we liquidated to the downside and we trapped sellers into this price, and then we started pushing through to the upside. However, when we pushed deep into the 0.62500 right here, that was a free range right there, but we still pushed all the way up and we created tops with that high. We didn't even break it. So at the 0.62500 we are creating tops, and at the 0.62 we are liquidating these bottoms right here. And therefore I see this, especially that we came back into the 0.62 right now and went even lower than the last low right there, creating huge drives to the downside, 1, 2 and 3 right there. And therefore I'm looking at price by comparing the points to the downside and the point to the upside right here, as this market is bullish and we are going to go back and target the 0.62500. As soon as we get into this level right there, I'm going to start taking partials right here. Now, of course, we will be very close to our 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. However, the system says take partials here, so I'm going to do that. And therefore partials right here, and then letting the rest run into our 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. That's it. Let's see how this AUD USD trade goes. So guys, I'm just closing right now this USDHF trade around BE. I received my alert, waited for the pullback, and then right now I'm just closing this trade around entry and then seeing how the rest goes. So guys, as you can see here, there's not much to say. It was a great decision to close this USDHF right here trade around the BE point, because the market then would have came back to my stop loss if I didn't. So great decision to do that. Now for the AUD USD trade right here, you can see that the market just simply rocketed through to the upside right here into these 0.63 level right now. So that's all for today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.